Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your man James, aka JP, back again with the toy room, and this is a video I've been wanting to do for quite a while. I've done 2 of these already, and I always have a lot of fun when I do them, and I just wanted to do another one. So today we're going to do a tier maker, or a tier list, of all of the Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network cartoons of the 90s as well as the early 2000s. Now, it's not going to be every single cartoon, because honestly I couldn't find a list that had every single cartoon. No matter which list I found, there was always cartoons missing, stuff left out, or lists that were just way too long that would make this video just like 3 hours long, and we're not trying to sit here through 3 hours of me ranking cartoons. So I kind of found a list that had a good amount of all of the amazing cartoons from the 90s and 2000s. That had a good variety of Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. If this is something you guys are interested in, you want to see me do more of, definitely let me know down in the comments below. It doesn't have to be on cartoons, obviously. Anything you guys want to see me do tier lists or tier maker lists on, definitely let me know. Or if you just want to see me do other cartoon videos as well, there's still Disney cartoons to do and a ton of others that weren't included on this list. So with all of that out of the way, I think that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get into ranking all of the Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network cartoons of the 90s and the 2000s. Alright, you guys, so here we are. I have my laptop here, so if you see me looking down, that's obviously what I'm looking at. But you can see all of the cartoons that are included right here, which are quite a bit. Not obviously every single one ever, but a decent amount, good variety, and I felt like this was overall the best list that was available. And then you can see how we have Elite here on the top, which obviously that is Elite, the best of the best. Then you have Great, self-explanatory, Good, also self-explanatory, Decent and Bad are also self-explanatory, and Didn't Watch or Don't Care. Now, I think that just glancing over here, I want to say there are a lot of things that maybe I haven't, not a lot, but I would say a good amount that either I haven't watched or just don't care for. More specifically, probably just haven't watched, which obviously we'll get there when we get there. And another thing I am going to be doing is ranking them individually within their own brackets. So within the Elite bracket, I'll rank those amongst themselves. You guys see as we go along. If you've seen any of my other ones, you know how I do it. So moving over to down here, we're just going to go ahead and get started. So first up, we have Adventure Time. I know this has a very, very big cult following, but it was just past my time. I was already done watching cartoons at that point in time in my life, and it's just one that I didn't watch or didn't care for. More specifically, didn't watch. I'm just gonna, you know what, I'm gonna change it to say didn't watch. How about that? Because I don't think there's any that I don't care for, but I am going to is it gonna let me edit it? There we go. Didn't watch. Okay, so moving on, we have Rugrats All Grown Up. Now, I don't remember too much about this particular series. I do remember watching it when it came out, and I know it was a very big thing because it was the new iteration of Rugrats. Essentially, for all of us that watched Rugrats growing up, we were now becoming teenagers, and Nickelodeon decided to make a teenager spin-off of Rugrats, but it just didn't hit the same. All the character models looked very weird, especially going back to watch it now today. So I wouldn't necessarily say it was bad, but I'll put it under decent. Next up, oh, this is oh man, American Dragon Jake Long. Let me just look up American Dragon Jake Long. Now, I do remember seeing this, and I remember it being a pretty decent show, but this was Disney Channel, so it's kind of weird that it's showing up here on this list, but that doesn't really matter. American Dragon Jake Long. I do remember watching it, but I don't have fond memories of it. What I do have fond memories of is Shaolin Showdown, which I don't think is on this list. But American Dragon Jake Long, I think it was a decent show, but for me personally, I just don't have very fond memories of it. So I'm going to put it in the decent spot, but I will rank it above Rugrats All Grown Up. And now we have Angry Beavers, classic Nickelodeon, 90s Nickelodeon cartoon. And to be honest, I have no idea what this show was even about. Like, a lot of these shows I haven't watched in recent memory. But Angry Beavers, I do remember it being a classic show, but if you wanted to ask me, or you wanted me to tell you like what specifically the show was about, I have no idea. But I do remember it being such a classic and a staple of the 90s. So I'm going to put it under, good, only because I feel like I didn't watch it that much growing up. I know the cultural impact that it had, but I don't think I watched it enough to where it impacted me. But what did impact me, which is the perfect segue, is if you guys are fans of the channel, you know, if you see this whole section right behind me, you know, Avatar: The Last Airbender is my favorite anything of all time. Favorite TV show. I can't really say favorite movie because the one movie that they made was horrible, but it's my favorite form of media of all time. Just such a great cartoon, man. I guess you can even consider it like an American version of anime, and there's like not really anything I can say about it that hasn't been said already. It is just honestly like one of the greatest things ever made. If you have not seen Avatar, I can't even talk. If you haven't seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, do yourself a favor, go see it, because you will not be disappointed. So without, any question, it's going in the elite, and I don't think anything on this list is going to beat it. It's going to stay at the very top spot in the elite bracket, and that's just what it is. Moving on, we have Avengers, which is also weird because this is a Disney property. I think this is like 2010-ish, so this was kind of past my time. So I'm going to put it under didn't watch, and I'm not going to rank the didn't watch section because obviously I didn't watch them. Back at the Barnyard. So I do recall seeing this around, like on Nickelodeon, around the same time that like Avatar was, airing, but I didn't watch it. Maybe I saw like an episode or two, but it's gonna go under didn't watch. Oh man, so now we have two bangers right next to each other. We have Batman and Batman Beyond, and both of these cartoons are just absolutely amazing, man. And it's been a while since I watched them, but I do know the original Batman cartoon, Batman the Animated Series is the exact word that I should use to look it up, but that is just so iconic, so dark for the time, for being like a children's cartoon as well. Man, this was amazing. So I'm gonna put Batman the Animated Series in the elite section, but it's not going to beat out Avatar. Like I said, I don't think anything will. And then Batman Beyond, I really loved Batman Beyond as a kid, mainly because black and red is like my favorite color combination, so putting that into a Batman suit I thought was just the coolest thing ever. I don't know if I will put this under elite, because I don't think it's held that like kind of cultural icon status that the animated series did, but I will put it under great. 100% deserves to be there. Classic cartoon of the early 2000s, I believe it was. So moving on, it looks like we have different versions of Ben 10. I have not seen any of Ben 10. It kind of came in that time where I was already like in high school and I wasn't watching cartoons at that point in time. But I know that it was pretty big for the kids of that era that grew up watching it. I just personally never did. So I'm going to put all three of these Ben 10s in the did not watch section. Next up, we have The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. This was such an awesome cartoon, man. Peak Cartoon Network right there. I watched so much of this growing up. Where would I put it though? I would put it under great. I don't think it's elite, but it is a classic for me growing up. I watched so much of it, but I feel like it kind of has like a cult following, and it's not like a cultural status icon. So I'm gonna put it under great. And I kind of want to put it, I'm going to put it above Batman Beyond, only because I feel like I watched more of Billy and Mandy than I did Batman Beyond. Now this next show, I have no idea what this is. They kind of look familiar. Brandy and Mr. Whiskers. It looks familiar, but not enough that I can actually say that I've seen it. And same thing with Breadwinners. Haven't seen that either. Camp Lazlo, I have seen a few episodes of, or maybe more than a few episodes of, but I definitely remember Camp Lazlo, and I remember it being a pretty good show, and I would say I probably watched more of Camp Lazlo than I have American Dragon Jake Long, so I would put Camp Lazlo in the decent section above American Dragon Jake Long. Now next up is Cat Dog, another classic 90s, I think it was like late 90s, maybe even early 2000s Nickelodeon cartoon. I grew up watching this, still to this day. Like if I catch it on TV, if I'm just on TV or whatever in the middle of the night sometimes, I'll definitely throw it on. It is a classic cartoon. So I'm going to put it under great, and I'll put it above Billy and Mandy and Batman Beyond. Next up, this is a weird one for me, because I do remember Cat Scratch, but I don't remember anything about it, but I do, remember watching it. Oh man, yeah, like I remember all these characters, but I don't remember anything about what the show's about or anything like that. Ooh, they made Funko Pops of these guys? I had no idea. Yeah, ooh, Cat Scratch. So I'm gonna put Cat Scratch under good, because I know I've watched it for sure, but I haven't seen it probably in what, like 20 years, so I'm gonna put it under Angry Beavers. Now ChalkZone, that was another classic cartoon that I had seen growing up. I watched a lot of ChalkZone actually. It was a really awesome and well done cartoon. I'm just gonna look up some of this stuff here. ChalkZone, man, yeah, I remember this. This was such a great cartoon. Very underrated, I think. I don't think a lot of people talked about this when it came out, but I do have very fond memories of watching this. I don't remember any of the characters' names, but this guy here, he was awesome, man. So ChalkZone, I'd put under good, but I'm gonna put it under Angry Beavers, even though I probably watched more ChalkZone than Angry Beavers, at least to my recollection. But Angry Beavers is just way more iconic. Now this next one is going to be a little controversial. It's Chowder, and I know a lot of people really love Chowder, but again, this was kind of past my time of watching cartoons. So, you know, I saw it on TV while my younger brother was into, I think it was Cartoon Network at the time, but it was not ever something that I watched, so it's going under didn't watch. Now, what I did watch a lot of was Codename Kids Next Door. I love this show, man. This show was just like everything you could ever like imagine as a kid, wanting to be like a secret spy, having your own like secret superhero force, and fighting and rebelling against the adults and whatnot, man. Man, Codename Kids Next Door is such a classic for me. I don't know if I'm ready to call it elite, but I do want to call it great. I'm gonna put it at the very top of the great list. Codename Kids Next Door for me, it was kind of like Cartoon Network's version of Recess almost. Obviously like two completely different like storylines or whatever, but kind of similar, where you have the kids in their own gang and doing their own stuff. But Codename Kids Next Door, man, that is such a classic show, and I caught myself watching it not too long on YouTube. There's like these different channels that play like these cartoons just 24/7, and I was watching like a 24/7 Kids Next Door channel. I watched a couple hours of Kids Next Door, so still holds up today. Courage the Cowardly Dog was a weird one. It was a very strange, even to this day, it's a very strange cartoon. But yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch Courage the Cowardly Dog as a kid because, oh man, I forgot the old guy's name, but every time he would say "stupid dog, you made me look bad," my mom did not want me watching that because it said stupid in the show. So I wasn't allowed to watch it, but you know, I still did at points. And even as an adult, I recently watched the crossover they had with Scooby-Doo, and it's Courage the Cowardly Dog is such a weird cartoon, man. But I mean, it's still iconic. For me, I would put it under good and under Angry Beavers. Cow and Chicken, another classic like 90s, early 2000s cartoon. I don't, where am I gonna put this? I think I would put it under good and probably above Angry Beavers, just because I feel like I watched more Cow and Chicken than I did Angry Beavers. So I'll put it right there. Next up is Danny Phantom, and that's kind of where we get into like the mid 2000s, early 2000s of Nickelodeon cartoon. You had that, Jimmy Neutron, Fairly Odd Parents. I watched a lot of Danny Phantom. I don't think it's as iconic or holds up as well. Not that it doesn't hold up as well, but it's just not as iconic as some of the other things on this list. But I mean, it's still good enough for me that I would put it. I watched more Danny Phantom than I did pretty much anything else in the good list, so I would put it on the very beginning of the good list. And that intro theme song, man, you cannot go wrong with that. Next up is, I think that's Dave the Barbarian, but that's not something I ever watched, so we're gonna just drop that in there and call it a day. Dragon Ball Z. The original Dragon Ball Z. I remember watching so much of this growing up on Cartoon Network, and I didn't really like understand it at the time as far as like the difference between anime and cartoons. I just thought they were all kind of the same thing, obviously because I'm a kid, but yeah, growing up watching Dragon Ball Z, I wish that there weren't so many episodes of Dragon Ball Z and that like one storyline didn't continue for like 47 episodes, because I would love to try and go back and rewatch the original Dragon Ball Z series, as well as they had like Dragon Ball GT, and there's all these different like Dragon Ball spin-offs from back in the day, but definitely Dragon Ball, did I spell, oh yeah, Dargon. Dragon Ball Z, definitely, man, so iconic, all these characters here, man. But then you have like Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT. There's just so many iterations of Dragon Ball. and just so iconic, man. So I really would love to go back and watch these someday, but there's just way too many episodes. So for me, Dragon Ball Z is actually going to go into the elite. I would put it above Batman the Animated Series just because I think I watched more Dragon Ball Z in my time growing up. Next up is Dexter's Lab, and I love Dexter's Lab. My biggest problem with Dexter's Lab is like you have the like 20-minute episode or whatever it is, but like half of it wouldn't even be related to Dexter's Lab. It would be like the knockoff Avengers that they had in the show and stuff like that, the space chimp and all of that. So I really love Dexter's Lab. I still want to put it under the great category, but I'm gonna put it at the bottom of the great category. So next up we have Doug, and Doug I know is so iconic, but it's not one that I watched a lot of growing up. I did see the Doug movie recently, probably like 2 or 3 years ago when I was rewatching like every single Disney movie. I think at that time it was under Disney. I think it changed between like Nickelodeon and Disney. But yeah, for me, Doug, I would put it under Danny Phantom only because I watched Danny Phantom more growing up. I didn't watch a lot of Doug growing up. But, and it's funny how I keep doing this segue, what I did watch a lot of was Ed, Edd and Eddy. Oh my god, such a classic cartoon. Still holds up till this day. This is one that you can go back and watch to this day and get, there's a lot of like adult jokes and references in that show as well. For me personally, Ed, Edd and Eddy is going to go in elite for me. It's going right there. It's everything you could ever want to do as a kid, just hanging out in a cul-de-sac, going on all these crazy adventures. And the only reason I think I would put it over Codename Kids Next Door is because Codename Kids Next Door is just a little bit more unrealistic, and you know, you have these kid spies where Ed and Eddy I feel like everybody can relate to, especially growing up as a kid. So yeah, Ed and Eddy definitely up there, but Codename Kids Next Door, it's right there. This next one, oh, I remember El Tigre. I remember seeing this, but I don't recall watching it, so I'm gonna just throw it under didn't watch and put it right there. We have the Emperor's New School. Oh, I can't even talk. Emperor's New School. So I guess they're including Disney shows on here. It was listed as, oh, every single cartoon. I thought this was, okay, I'm on the wrong list. Or I'm on the right list, but I thought of the wrong title. So this obviously does include Disney shows. So that's just my fault. I thought this was the one that was only Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. But yeah, this has Disney shows. So anyways, Emperor's New School. I do remember watching it. Obviously a spin-off of Emperor's New Groove. I don't know if it's held up as well. You have to be a fan of Emperor's New Groove, which I know a lot of people weren't, to enjoy this show. So for me, I will put it under decent, and I put it at the top of the decent list. Next up, you have Fairly Odd Parents. Man, this was a great show, very creative show. It's so iconic. I watched so much of this. I'm gonna put it at the top of the great list because I feel like I watched way more of that than anything else that was on the great list. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's good there. You have now Fanboy and Chum Chum. This was another one that was kind of past my time, but my younger brother was watching, or at least it was on, you know, at that time that he was watching cartoons. So I didn't watch it. Fish Hooks, never even heard of it. What is, oh, The Adventures of God, Flapjack, right? Yeah, the Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack. This is another one that I never personally watched, but my younger brother did, so that's going to go right there. The oh man, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I cannot tell you how much I love this show, all the creative character designs, and oh man, this show is amazing. If you've never seen Foster's Home, you definitely need to. I'm not ready to call it iconic because I feel like it's kind of a cult following thing, but I'm going to put it as great, and I'll put it right under Fairly Odd Parents, only because I think Fairly Odd Parents had a bigger pop culture impact than Foster's did. Okay, Freakazoid. I know how iconic Freakazoid is. I just never watched it growing up. I mean, maybe I saw like an episode here or there, but not enough to really even remember anything from the show. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to stink you right there, along with Fish Hooks, which I thought we did already. Maybe we didn't, I don't know. But anyways, Fish Hooks, haven't even heard of it. Okay, guys, it's on my list, this next one, I know how iconic Gargoyles is. I just never saw it growing up. It's on my list of stuff that I need to watch on Disney Plus. I just haven't got around to it yet. And what NECA's been doing with all the action figures they've been making from this show is it's phenomenal. Listen, don't kill me. I understand, but unfortunately, I just haven't seen it. I don't know. I never saw it. I don't know why. I can't tell you why. I just never saw it. As Told by Ginger. This is one that I did see. I did see this growing up. I think it was on Nickelodeon, but it was kind of like a girls type of show. But I think it dealt with a lot of real world problems, if I'm not mistaken, As Told by Ginger. But for me, I don't know, I would put it under decent. Like, I don't think anything on here is going to be bad per se. Maybe some of these ones that like I couldn't relate to, like Chowder or whatever, like that type of humor I think was past my time because I was already older by then. So I don't know, As Told by Ginger, I would just put it at the very bottom of decent, but I'm not ready to call it bad. Gravity Falls is another one that has like a pretty big following. I just haven't seen it. Same with Gumball, that's just past my time, so we'll put that there. Hey Arnold, another classic show, man. Kind of similar in ways to Eddy and Eddy, where you have your gang of friends and you're going through all these crazy adventures, you know, running around through the city and whatever. Hey Arnold for me, it's, man, am I ready to call it elite? That I don't know. I feel like I should though. Man, I'm stuck between great and elite. I think I'm gonna put Hey Arnold on the top of the great for now, and we'll see if I change my mind as we get closer to it. I Am Weasel. This is one that I like vaguely remember. Let me see. I Am Weasel. I'll go back to images here. Oh yes, it was like a spin-off of the characters, these guys from Cow and Chicken. Yeah. Okay, I'm remembering these, but I don't know. I would put it under decent, probably right there, just because I don't remember enough of it. Jimmy Neutron, or Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, another staple of early 2000s, and it's funny because it came out around the same time the Fairly Odd Parents did, but the animation styles were so different. Whereas Fairly Odd Parents was your traditional like 2D, you know, just hand-drawn type of artwork, Jimmy Neutron was like full 3D CGI. So such an iconic, and the crossovers that the both of those shows did together, where they swapped art styles, that was also just phenomenal. So I'm gonna put it up there with right next to Fairly Odd Parents. I feel like I watched more Fairly Odd Parents than Jimmy Neutron, but I mean, they're basically tied. Next up is Johnny Bravo, another staple of 90s Cartoon Network. I feel like the whole show was just him trying to get girls though, so for me, I would put it under good. I'll put it right under Danny Phantom, just because I felt like Danny Phantom was a little bit, I don't know, had more story to it, I guess. Johnny Test is another one that was kind of past my time that I haven't seen, so I'll just throw that there. You have the Justice League, classic, not as iconic as the animated Batman series, but still very, very good. So I would put it, I'm going to put it at the bottom of great. We'll put it right there. Kick Butt Butowski, I don't know what that is, haven't heard of it at all, haven't seen it. Next up is Kim Possible. Man, another classic, iconic cartoon from Disney in the 90s, and a theme song. If you didn't know this already, your mind's gonna be blown. The theme song is actually sung by Christina Milian, which is, when I found that out maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and I haven't looked at the theme song the same again since then. Just having Christina Milian, she was so big at the time, having her do the theme song, so iconic. So I'm gonna put that under great. Ooh, this is tough. I'm gonna put it under Codename Kids Next Door and before Cat Dog. There we go. Oh boy. Alright, this next one, The Legend of Korra. Okay guys, so strap in, put your seatbelts on, because here we go. The Legend of Korra, I don't hate it. So many people hate it, but I don't. I love everything in the Avatar universe except for that live action movie. I never even finished it. I got like an hour into it and turned it off. But The Legend of Korra, it's great. Okay, it is great. It is nowhere near as good as Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it kind of sucks because The Legend of Korra has that to live up to. So in that aspects, like, people I don't think ever really even gave it a chance because you have to compare it to the Last Airbender. But The Legend of Korra, just by itself, it's still really, really good. Now, the show does have its issues. My biggest problem with the show, or I guess that I didn't really like it as much as Avatar, was because Avatar, you went on this journey from episode 1 to however many episodes there are in Avatar. You went through this journey from beginning to end, this one long continuous journey with Aang and everybody, and you got to go on this ride with them. The Legend of Korra, like, the storyline is only consistent throughout the season. So season 1, season 2, season 3, and season 4. Is there 4? Yeah, I think there's 4, and then The Last Airbender is 3, whatever. Each season has kind of its own story and plot, but then when you get to the next season, it's completely unrelated to the previous season that you saw before that. And I don't like that as much, but I still love the world that they're in. Visually, it is a beautiful show, and I enjoy it. Obviously, it's not as great as Avatar, but for me, you know, I don't know. Like, I'm a little biased because I love everything in that universe, so I want to put it in the elite category. You know what? Screw it. I'm doing it. This is my list. I'm putting it in the elite category. Let me just scroll up over here. I'm going to put it at the bottom of the elite category, but it's Avatar. Anything in that universe, I'm always going to be a big fan and supporter of, so it's going in the elite category. Hey, fight me. Alright, so I would say we're about halfway done, more or less. Next up is going to be Lilo and Stitch. I have so many memories of watching this growing up. Such a great spin-off with having all the different experiments and seeing all those different variations and how they can get creative with it. And I love I forgot his name, but the guy with the sandwiches that we all played growing up, that iconic computer game of stacking the sandwiches. But Lilo and Stitch, I'm gonna put it pretty high up in the great category. Like, for me, I don't know. I watched a lot of this growing up, man. I'm gonna put it right there, right above Foster's. I'm not ready to put it above Hey Arnold and Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents because it didn't have that iconic stand the test of time that the rest of these did in pop culture. But yeah, it's amazing. Next up is going to be Looney Tunes. I don't know really which version of Looney Tunes we're going to be talking about here because there's so many different iterations of Looney Tunes. But, I mean, Looney Tunes is Looney Tunes, man. They did Space Jam and everything, so you have to put Looney Tunes in. You have to put it in Elite. Again, I don't know which era we're referring to, but pretty much any era that you're referring to, it has to be up there. So just because of, like, the iconic status, I'm going to put it above Legend of Korra, but I don't want to put it above anything else in the Elite category. Alright, moving on. I have no idea what this is, but it looks kind of cool. Megas XLR. It sounds familiar, but I have no idea what this is. But the poster for it looks kind of cool, so we're just going to put that under Didn't Watch. Man, I feel like half of this list is Didn't Watch, but these things are just kind of past my time. Okay, Naruto. I never got into Naruto. I've seen it. I've never got into it. I don't know. I think it was kind of like past my time, and I never really gave it a chance because it kind of felt like a Dragon Ball Z ripoff at the time. I don't know why. But yeah, I've seen like a little bit here and there. I played the video games growing up, but I do know how iconic it is. So for me, I'm just gonna put it at the very top of the decent list. Oh man, Osmosis Jones. Or this was a spin-off of the Osmosis Jones movie called Ozzy and Drix, I believe is what that says. And I love Osmosis Jones. I feel like it's pretty underrated. And I did watch a lot of it growing up. I think I'll put it under good and put it above ChalkZone, maybe? Yeah, I'll put it above ChalkZone. Right there under good. Phineas and Ferb is another one that was kind of past my time. I did see a couple episodes here and there. So I'm going to put it under decent. I know for the people that grew up watching Phineas and Ferb that were younger than me, they really, really enjoyed it. So I'm going to put it under decent, right under Naruto. Planet Sheen was a spin-off of Jimmy Neutron, and I didn't watch too much of it, so it is what I'm going to put it under decent. But I'll put it under at the very end of decent just because I watched all of these more than I watched Planet Sheen. Okay. If anything we're going to be giving Avatar a run for its money, it would be this. It's going to be Pokemon. again, there's so many different iterations of Pokemon you can talk about, but me specifically, everything from obviously the original, from when it took place in, you know, the yellow and blue version, which was Kanto, going up to Johto with silver and gold, and all those early, I want to say, I fell out of love with Pokemon around the time that Emerald came out. So basically, I don't know, whenever that was, all those iterations of Pokemon, this definitely has to go in Elite. So we're just going to put that up there, and it's going to go right behind Avatar: The Last Airbender. For me personally, I personally would love to go back and watch all of the Pokemon shows, you know, all the episodes, but there's just so many to go through. It's kind of overwhelming when you look at it. So yeah, ooh. I'm like this close to putting it above Avatar, but I just love Avatar way too much to put Pokemon above it. But I mean, they're right there, neck and neck. Next up is Powerpuff Girls, man. This was such an awesome show, and it was kind of dark at times, especially during the Powerpuff Girls movie, and it's so iconic. I kind of want to put it under Elite. I feel like for me it would go under Elite, because you have these three girls, and you would think that it would be like these three superhero girls would be kind of like a girly show, but I mean, even as a guy watching it, it was awesome. All the villains and everything, Mojo Jojo. So yeah, for me, I'm gonna put it under Elite, and I'll put it right under Ed, Edd and Eddy. I like Ed, Edd and Eddy just a little bit more, but Powerpuff Girls is right there with Ed, Edd and Eddy. Moving on to the Proud Family, such an underrated show. I know this is this here is the artwork for the new Proud Family show, which is just as good as the original, if you ask me. Yeah, it's such a great show, so underrated, classic Disney at the time. I'm gonna put it under great, and I'm gonna put it. I put it above Kim Possible, right there. I like Proud Family way more than I do Kim Possible. Our Real Monsters, classic 90s, you know, Nickelodeon cartoon. I don't really remember too much of it. I mean, I know like the characters and everything like that, but as far as the story and whatever, I don't remember too much of it. But I know how iconic it is, and I do remember watching a lot of it growing up. So I'm going to put it under great, but I'm going to put it at the bottom of great only because I don't remember it all that well. Recess School's Out. Now this is one that I watched so much of, and I love all the Recess, the shows, the movies, everything. So for me, Recess is just so iconic, man. I'm going to put it with Eddy and Eddy, like in Elite. For me personally, I don't know, there's something about Recess that was just so amazing. I don't know if I would put it above Powerpuff Girls, but I do want to put it above Looney Tunes for me. So yeah, Recess is going to go in Elite. I don't know why, I just really love Recess and have fond memories of watching so much of it growing up. Moving on, regular show that was past my time, not one that I ever saw, but I do know that it is pretty iconic. Ren and Stimpy, man, the adult jokes, I don't know how some of these jokes got aired on TV at the time, man, especially on Nickelodeon, on that children's channel. So for me, I'm gonna bring it up here. Ren and Stimpy, I'm gonna put it under great. I'm gonna put it under Cat Dog, just because I watched a lot more of Cat Dog than I did Ren and Stimpy. And Ren and Stimpy was kind of those like weird things, like where you, I don't know, you just had to be into it. Like it wasn't for everybody, that's for sure. What the heck is this? Robot Monster, have never heard of it. That's probably past my time, so just gonna throw that there. Robot Jones? I have no idea. Oh, maybe I do. Robot Jones. Hold on, let me look this up. Robot Jones. Looks kind of familiar. Yeah, it looks oddly familiar. What happened to Robot Jones? Yeah, it looks oddly familiar, but I don't know. But I do remember watching this, My Life as a Teenage Robot. Robot Jones, I have no idea what this is. Oh man. Guys, Rocket Power? Ooh, Rocket Power. Man, when I tell you, especially when the movie came out, when they went to, I think it was like the X Games in New Zealand, like I can't tell you how badly I wanted to be like Rocket Power in real life. Rocket Power is so iconic, man, and you can't forget about the game on PS1 where you can like unlock the other Nickelodeon characters and skateboard and do BMX with, like, you got Tommy Pickles doing freaking backflips on a BMX bike, man. Oh man, Rocket Power. For me, Rocket Power is going to go under Elite, and I don't know if I want to put it above Eddy and Eddy. I'm gonna put it above Eddy and Eddy. Rocket Power, so iconic, man. I wanted to be Rocket Power so bad growing up, man. You have no idea. Rocko's Modern Life. That's another one that's kind of like right there with All Real Monsters for me. I watched a lot of it growing up, but I don't remember too much of it now. But I do remember seeing, I would say, more of Rocko than All Real Monsters, so I will put Rocko's right above them. Ooh, Rugrats, man, we're coming with some bangers right here. Rugrats, holy moly! And then you had all the different movies, Rugrats in Paris, and all the other spin-offs that they had, the crossover with the Wild Thornberrys. Rugrats definitely for me is going to go under Elite, and just because I watched so much of it growing up versus, ooh, this is tough, man. Just because of how iconic they are, I'm gonna put them above Eddy and Eddy. And I'm also tempted to put them above Rocket Power, but I love Rocket Power, like, so much. Samurai Jack, this is a weird one for me. So I remember watching it when it premiered, the very first episode. And I didn't really like it because the main character, Samurai Jack, he, like, never talked. And I don't know if he talked ever. It was like a silent cartoon where you only had, like, sound effects and stuff. So I could never really get into it. But I do know that, you know, it's pretty iconic. I'm going to put it under decent. But I'll put it above Naruto just because I've seen more of Samurai Jack than I have Naruto. What the heck is this? Sanjay and Craig. No idea what the heck that is. Next you have Scooby-Doo. There's different iterations of Scooby-Doo. And Scooby-Doo Mysteries Incorporated. I have no idea what that is. And then you got just classic Scooby-Doo. So, I mean, Mystery Incorporated, I don't know if that's a different spin-off or whatever. But then you got classic Scooby-Doo. Which obviously has to go under Great. I mean, Scooby-Doo, it's iconic, but am I going to want to watch Scooby-Doo more than I'm going to watch the rest of the stuff in the Great category? For me, probably not. Honestly, probably not. So, yeah, there you go. And then I remember you had the Scrappy-Doo spinoff, which I was a really big fan of. Ooh, what the heck? SMS. This looks kind of familiar. SMS cartoon? Maybe it wasn't called SMS. Whatever this is looks kind of familiar, but I can't say that I've watched it. So we'll just put it there. Space Ghost. This was another one that would like show up on like Cartoon Network, I think, in like the middle of the night, like 2 in the morning. I do remember seeing it, but I think this is an older cartoon if I'm not mistaken. This is from like the Boomerang days. Like this would show up on Boomerang as well. So I feel like this is like a 70s or 80s cartoon, Space Ghost. I have no idea. I do like remember seeing some episodes of it, so I would just put it under decent. It's not as iconic as Naruto though, so I'll just put it right there. Okay, so we got Spider-Man. I don't know which iteration of Spider-Man they're referring to, but like you guys see my shirt. I'm currently in the middle of rewatching the Spider-Man animated series that I think it was on Disney at the time. Yeah, Spider-Man the animated series, so amazing, and it was basically the MCU before the MCU was the MCU. You had all these different crossovers of characters that would show up. It was just so amazing, so iconic. So I have to put it, I want to put it under Elite, but going back and watching it nowadays, it kind of like stretches out. Like, I don't know, some of the episodes are kind of filler, some are a little boring. And you have like one, in the later seasons at least, you have like one continuous storyline that continues like from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, which doesn't really work in this aspect for me. Like it works for Avatar, but for Spider-Man the animated series, it didn't really work for me. So I want to put it under Great. I'm gonna put it above Batman Beyond. Yeah. I want to put it higher though because it's so iconic, and that theme song and everything. I'm gonna put it, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna put it. I'll put it right there. I like that. I like it there because I'd rather watch that than Kim Possible for sure. But I would prefer Proud Family over it, so I put it right there. SpongeBob SquarePants. Okay, so My motto in life is that everything in the world revolves around SpongeBob. You can relate anything in the world, anything happening in your life to SpongeBob, and I'm gonna stand by that. So SpongeBob for me, I mean, obviously I didn't grow up watching some of the later seasons. I mean, it's even still going on to this day. I think there's new episodes, which is wild because I think it came out in 1999. So SpongeBob has to go under Elite, man, 100%. I would put, as far as what I'd rather watch, I'd probably rather watch Recess, but like SpongeBob is just so iconic. I'm gonna put it above Looney Tunes, but nowadays I'd rather watch Recess and go back and watch SpongeBob. But yeah, it's gonna go right there under Elite. Alright, we're almost done with this list. So you got Steven's Universe. This is one that just passed my time. I never saw it. Superman the Animated Series, not quite as good as Batman, but still up there. So I would put it under... I'd put it under Great. Maybe. I'd put it at the bottom of the Great list. Oh man, Tak and the Power of Juju. I remember this being a game. I had it on the GameCube growing up. And I remember the series came to Nickelodeon, I believe, but it wasn't something that I ever really watched like that. Like, I probably saw like a few episodes, so I'd put it right there at the bottom of the decent list. Ooh, Teen Titans. Teen Titans. Do we have, I'm just looking here. We don't have Teen Titans Go on this list, which is unfortunate. Because even though Teen Titans Go is kind of geared towards kids, younger kids, like nowadays kids, I think it's a really, really good show. And I really loved the Teen Titans Go movie. I think that was really amazing. I do want to go back and rewatch the original Teen Titans, just because it was obviously more like, it was more mature. And yeah, I never saw every single episode, but I did watch a lot of it growing up. I feel like Teen Titans is underrated as well. I'm actually tempted to put it under Elite. I'll put it under Elite, and I'd put it, for me personally, at the bottom of the Elite. I'd put Korra before it just because I've seen all of Korra, and I have not seen all of Teen Titans. But yeah, Teen Titans was such a great show, and it came out of nowhere too. My Life as a Teenage Robot, I was mentioning that earlier. A really good cartoon that came out in like the early 2000s for, was that Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network? I don't remember. I think it might have been Nickelodeon. I put it under Danny Phantom. It was good. Yeah, I'm good with that. Loud House, that was past my time, not one I ever saw. Whatever the heck this is, Mighty B or whatever, I don't know, never seen it. Replacements, I think I kind of heard of it, but never seen it. X's, same thing. What the heck is, oh, is this Total Drama Island? Yeah, this was, I remember kind of seeing it, but this was kind of past my time, so I never really watched it like that. Totally Spies, surprisingly, I did watch. I don't really know why, but I do remember watching it. I'd put it under decent, but I put it at the bottom of the decent list. Tough Puppy, never heard of it, I don't think. Yeah, no, I have heard of it. I've seen it at least, like, I've seen these characters, but I don't ever remember watching it, so that's gonna go there. Uncle Grandpa, I've never seen that or heard of it. Alright, we're down to the last three. If you guys have been with me for all, what has this been, like almost 45 minutes now? Thank you guys. But anyways, the Wild Thornberrys. Wow, this was an iconic cartoon, man. The Wild Thornberrys. This has to go under Great. I just don't know where I want to put it under Great because I don't remember, like, I remember it, but I don't really remember the specifics of it, you know? It's been a very long time. For me, I would put it above Rocko's Modern Life just because I definitely watched more of this growing up. And again, I mentioned the crossover they did with the Rugrats at one point in time, and I think they did a crossover with somebody else. But yeah, I would put it right above Rocko's Modern Life, just because I've seen more of that. All right, Yu-Gi-Oh! If there was anything for me as a kid that was going to give Pokemon a run for its money, it was going to be Yu-Gi-Oh! And also Digimon, and I guess Beyblade. Those were all like right there. But Yu-Gi-Oh! I was so into Yu-Gi-Oh! I loved the cartoon growing up. I loved the card game growing up. I played so much of it. I don't know anyone that actually played the Pokemon card game like that, but Yu-Gi-Oh! I played the actual card game. I think the rules were just a lot easier to understand for Yu-Gi-Oh! Like growing up as a kid. So, and that cartoon was amazing, man. I'm gonna put it under Elite, and I put it above Teen Titans just because I've seen way more of Yu-Gi-Oh than I've seen of Teen Titans. In reality, I think Teen Titans is probably better than Yu-Gi-Oh, but like I said, I grew up watching Yu-Gi-Oh, man. The Blue Eyes White Dragon, the Red Eyes Black Dragon, the Dark Magician, Summon Skull, all the Toon Monsters. Oh, I love the world of Yu-Gi-Oh, man. So iconic. And last one is Invader Zim. Now this is another one where it's kind of like a weird cartoon and it wasn't for everybody. You kind of had to be into it, and I was into it. I dig it. Still to this day, I love me some Invader Zim. I'd put Invader Zim as Elite. That is such an iconic cartoon. It's weird, it's dark, the artwork, or not the artwork, but like the art style is amazing. For me, Invader Zim, it's gonna go under Elite, man. I really love me Invader Zim, man. Where under Elite would I put it? I want to put it above Looney Tunes. Even though Looney Tunes is way more iconic, but I gotta keep it under SpongeBob only because of how iconic and long-running SpongeBob is. And that is the whole list right there, guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's just go ahead and run through this really quickly. So at the top of the Elite, obviously we knew nothing for me was going to be Avatar: The Last Airbender. Pokemon did come close though. Pokemon came very close. So we got Avatar, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, Batman the Animated Series, Rocket Power, Rugrats, Eddy and Eddy, Powerpuff Girls, Recess, SpongeBob, Invader Zim, Looney Tunes, Legend of Korra, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Teen Titans. For me, those are going to be the best of the best cartoons right there. Runner-ups under the great category are going to be Hey Arnold, Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, Lilo and Stitch, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Codename Kid Next Door, Proud Family, Spider-Man the Animated Series, Kim Possible, Cat Dog, Ren and Stimpy, The Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Batman Beyond, Dexter's Lab, Justice League, Wild Thornberrys, Rocko's Modern Life, All Real Monsters, Scooby-Doo, and Superman the Animated Series. After that, under the good category, we're going to have Danny Phantom, My Life as a Teenage Robot, Johnny Bravo, Doug, Cow and Chicken, Angry Beavers, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Ozzy and Drix, whatever that says, ChalkZone, and Cat Scratch. Then under decent, we're going to have Samurai Jack, Naruto, Space Ghost, Phineas and Ferb, Emperor's New School, Camp Lazlo, American Dragon, Jake Long, I Am Weasel, All Grown Up, or Rugrats All Grown Up, As Told by Ginger, Planet Sheen, Attack and the Power of Juju, and Totally Spies. We're not putting anything under the bad category because I don't think any of these are actually bad. And then we have everything that I haven't seen, which I'm not going to go over. Wow, okay, so my voice is shot. I think I've been talking for almost an hour now. If you guys made it to the end of the video, thank you. I appreciate you guys. I have so much fun doing these videos. They're long, they take a long time to edit, a long time to render and put together, a long time to upload. But man, do I get so much enjoyment out of these videos. So I hope you guys do as well, because I would love to make more of these. And you know, the last two videos that I did pretty well as far as views, so I hope this one does good as well, because that tells me that you guys want to see these videos. And also, if you guys are subscribed, if you hit the notification bell, if you like the video, specifically this video, that also lets me know that this is something that you guys are interested in, as well as commenting down below. And speaking of comments, definitely let me know down below your top cartoons from Disney, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network down in the comments below. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, all that. Follow me on Instagram, link down below in the description. I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of here. As always, guys, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys next time.